Thanks for joining us today on Polk Salad.
We've started the season and had two great shows.
Great idea. That's smart.
And we've just settled in quite nicely.
Welcome to Polk Salad. It's February, and we have a program today called Have a Heart. Our three guests will be talking about things from the food pantry to foster care system. We know you'll enjoy it. We're here with Sarah Tabor. Sarah is a student at Western Oregon University, and she's also our assistant director at the food pantry called Hungry Like a Wolf. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This is February, and this is our our month that we run a food drive. It's the governor's food drive, and so I'm expecting we'll see some food in the pantry soon that's a little more robust. Tell us about the food pantry. Where is it? What hours it's open, so forth.
So the pantry is located in our old library on campus, the APSC building in the bottom floor. And we've been open since 2012. It started as a student project and has grown tremendously since then. We've cut back our hours, and so now we're open about 4 hours a day. And that seems to work perfectly with our volunteers and the times that students are coming in to access the pantry.
So when we have other than students come in too, don't we? We also have community members and their families using it?
Yeah, we're a food pantry that operates through Marion Polk Food Share, and so because of that, we're open to both students, faculty, staff, and the whole community.
And a lot of folks use it. Do you know about how many?
Yeah, so we have just submitted our statistics for the month of January, and students were just returning to school, so it's a little bit lower. But on average, we have about 100 people using it a month.
100 a month. And you figured a new way to do the statistics, which I appreciate, so that every semester, or is it monthly?
It's monthly that they'll fill out an
Monthly.
intake form.
Yeah, that way you aren't counting them as new every time they come in.
Exactly.
Because I see frequent flyers. I
Yeah.
see the same people come in at the same time
Yeah.
on my shift. So tell us a little bit about you, Sarah. What brought you here to Western?
Oh, I'm a senior this year at Western, and I was actually originally planning to go to Schmekeda. And then by chance, my high school offered a day where you could skip school and go to our university, so I came to Western, and as soon as I stepped foot on the campus, it's so beautiful here, and I just knew I wanted to come here.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have, and your major is?
I'm majoring in psychology, yeah, with a minor in American Sign Language.
And what do you plan on doing with the degree?
I'm going to take some time off after I graduate, and I'm hoping to get into education.
Oh, good.
Some
Okay.
capacity.
That I didn't know. I thought you were going on to grad school. Is that?
Probably in the next 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of take a break. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So where are you from originally?
State in Oregon. It's
Okay,
about 40
State.
minutes
Not
from here.
far at all. Not far. So do you have a favorite teacher, some kind of a mentor that comes to mind?
One of my ASL professors has been really helpful during my time at Western. Yeah.
Good, good. Do you find, I always love the idea that the classes are small enough so everyone gets to know each other.
Yeah,
so-
absolutely. It's such a supportive community
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well, getting back to the food pantry, I know we have some statistics.
Yeah.
The food drive that's going on now, if we look at just that, our school has been the winner in the public universities in the state for the past 13 years. And one of the things that they do, which is awesome, is they have raffles and they have auctions and really fun stuff. So some of the auction items, are you familiar at all with some of the things that are going?
I've heard a few rumors, but I don't know anything for certain.
Yeah. Well, employees have received, well, there are the emails, and it talks about, a dinner and a show, and there are Valentine type things. There are just some fun stuff.
I heard concert tickets.
Concert ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. So we have a few hunger facts. And do you know about how many people, with a percentage of Oregonians, are food insecure?
Yeah, I think it's right around 14%, 14.5%.
Yeah. Which is the 9th most hungry state in the country. We also have 59% of our students,
Yeah.
over half, are food insecure. And can you give us some kind of idea what happens, what are the results when a student doesn't have enough to eat?
Yeah, I know that when people go hungry, they tend to sleep a lot more, which leaves less time for students to study and work on their schoolwork, while at the same time, they're working and going to school. And so you can really see exhaustion as a result.
And stress.
Yeah.
Stress is another one that impacts your studying and so forth. Student success is dependent on eating healthy.
Yeah.
So our food pantry, tell us what are the kinds of things, if we have some bins around campus.
Yeah.
What are some things that we're looking for at the pantry?
So we always need fresh items, and those you can't necessarily leave in the bin, but if you contact Ashley or I, we can get those arranged to be donated. But in terms of items for bins, canned meats are always good. We need protein in the pantry. As well as just, anything you would eat, I think a lot of people dig through their cupboards and sometimes give away old items, but people are just looking to eat what you would like.
Sure,
you know?
It's true. We go once a week to the Marion Polk Food Share and gather things we know our students would like. At the same time that we're there are other organizations in town, and they're gathering things that are appropriate for their market.
Yeah.
So we always are looking for dairy products, eggs, fresh produce for sure.
Yeah.
We have a chest freezer, and it would be so nice to fill that with meats and poultry and good things like that. Yeah. So tell us, you were telling us a little earlier before we went on air that you had been speaking with some people about ideas. Tell us what your idea was.
Oh, yeah. We have lots of ideas for growth of the pantry, but as part of the governor's food drive, the idea of an automatic deduction from payroll for employees came up. And I just mentioned that I think it would be really great for student employees to have that option to give $5 to $10 a month that would just come straight from their payroll. And I think that would be a really great option for students.
Yeah, I think that's really super. It shows something about our campus. I think we're a compassionate campus and a good community that works together for the benefit of all, so that's great. Let's see if there's something else we wanted to cover. I know I was going to say one of the raffle items is a Traeger grill, which is fun.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. This is the 3rd year we've done this. We've interviewed the director or the assistant director of the food pantry. We had Christy Colasardo the first year, Rebecca Hardgrave last year, and I'm so glad you could come on the show this year. Tell us about our experiences at the food pantry.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming on, and we'll be back. And we're here with Patty Nevue. And Patty is from Independence and runs the Ella Curran Food Bank. She's been our guest before, and so it's great to see an old friend.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on. And when you first came on, you were new at the job, having taken over for Pat Jaffer. So tell us what you've learned and tell us the things that have happened in the last couple of years.
Oh, a lot has happened. And I think back now, I was really new when I came the first time. We actually have had to move. We're in somewhat of the same location, but we now are just a few doors down. It's a nice space, but we're a little bit more efficient in how we use it. Our numbers have increased. We wanted to get the word out to as many people as we could. And so we have a web page and we have Facebook and done a little outreach. Yes. So I do modern things for me is to, have photos and thank people and then boost them locally. And so we get a lot more interest, I think, in the community, which is quite nice. And so more volunteers, our volume probably has, it's like 100 more visits a month.
Wow. Wow.
In terms of visits, right.
Yeah.
So that's a great deal more than we used to.
Yeah.
But that's rewarding too, because it's people that all need the food.
And you're finding a lot of the repeat folks with families. Do you find more families coming in or fewer?
It's, the spectrum of people, I would say it's a lot of families. We do have students, we have seniors, we have disabled, we have hospice people, we have people starting out, just getting out of college, people trying to get a job, they just lost the job. The list is unending. And so it's somewhat what it was when I started, but it's just expanded. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in and really appreciate the volume you have.
Yeah.
When you go to the Marion Polk Food Share,
Yes.
do you take a truck? What?
Well, the truck is the same. There's a little delivery that comes here.
Right.
And we have a delivery as well. And then we have a volunteer that goes in. And what I really appreciate is people really want to eat healthy. So when we go in, the vast majority of items we get is produce. Lots and lots of produce, because when people come in, they want dairy and meat and produce.
Sure.
So just one person goes in with a supplemental truck for produce, and it's great.
Wow. Wow. That's a good idea. So when we met earlier, you were telling us a little trick of the trade you learned. Your father was a grocer.
No,
No?
he was a merchant.
A merchant,
Yeah, a
okay.
department store.
Oh, okay. So for some reason, I thought he was a grocer, but you told us, we get a lot of beans, packaged beans.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
how do you get those things off the shelf and into the home? What was your trick?
Well, the trick is we actually buy seasoning packets that look a little bit more, grocery store-like. And so we adhere them, stick them on, and then we, people, if they fly off the shelves.
Yeah.
But we do, the volunteers are really good about providing recipe information. So they always are saying, this is how I used it, this is how somebody else could. And a lot of times people that are shoppers, they have great recipes. And so we just,
good.
because it's a shopping style, and there's kind of a lengthy process. They get produce, and then they get dairy and frozen veggies and meats in another area. And there's all volunteers at these spots. And then there's the pantry area. And throughout that whole process, you're interacting. And so it's really a sharing of food and how you use it, and people having diet concerns, and it's really a good visit with people. And then I think there's a social part to it that's really important.
Yeah, I think that
it's a welcoming place.
develops community.
Exactly. And we're all
good.
there together, and people feel good when they leave, and it's very,
Good.
a lot of warmth there.
And what are your hours?
We're open 4 times a week. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 11:30, and then Tuesday afternoons. And that is another new thing, from 4 to 6.
bad.
And it really has brought in another group of people. A lot of people with maybe part-time, entry-level jobs. It certainly falls within the guidelines, the federal guidelines, and it's been very well received.
Good, good.
So 4 times, and the time flies by.
Now, I'm remembering, it's been a couple of months now. Maybe, was it November? You had a gathering of us, a kind of a forum, a local forum.
Yes.
And what did you glean from that? This was a group of folks from the community.
Yes.
Marion Polk Food Share, Oregon
Food Bank, yes.
And
Yes, I was so tickled. That was, I wanted it to be a size of a group where people could interact freely and share information. And you were there, and Sarah was there from the Wolf Food Bank, and the 2 mayors and our state representative and a county commissioner and a city manager, and it was wonderful.
It was.
And it has created a lot of little pieces of information being shared back and forth. I know Marion Polk Food Share has been interacting with the state representative. Do you remember he
Good,
talked
yes.
about emergency preparedness
Right.
and potential things? Well, so that was a plus. And Sarah and I have interacted several times.
I know,
via
you've come
email,
and
I come
helped
over
and
helped.
given suggestions. It's very helpful.
And
yeah.
that, that was my thought. so often we're all working for things like-minded.
Right.
And wouldn't it be great if we could all get together and just keep it sort of seamless and sharing and
And no competition.
no competition. It's
Yeah.
all of us together. I
So-
was happy about that.
We have a lifetime supply of green beans.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've shared green beans, but I think you've been on the other end and
have green
shared knowledge and yeah.
But we have not only the small green beans, we have the giant green beans because there was an extra portion of that in the community that was shared to
Oh,
us. So
wow.
at that time, we give away 220 Thanksgiving dinners. They get all the supplies,
Wow.
and so they get 2 bags of groceries as well as produce and the turkey. And we put the big green beans with them, with the suggestion to use it for the green bean casserole of
Yeah.
fame for the
Yeah, and-
holidays, and they went out.
and invite your neighbors, invite the guys.
I had even said, can't we go buy the little cream of whatever soup that goes with that and pair
Oh,
it together?
yeah. See, there you go. Always thinking. Is it cream of mushroom or cream of celery? I think it's any cream of.
That's right. Everybody has a variation.
Yeah. That's right. I remember. Well, that's awesome. Let's do a little bit of review on you.
Sure.
You're originally from
Roseburg.
Roseburg.
Yes.
And you went to OSU and you were
I got my
tennis
I was a
star?
tennis player. Yes, I
a
played.
top-ranked tennis player.
I was #1 on the tennis team.
Yay.
That was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you studied occupational therapy?
Yeah, that's great. I
Okay.
did at University of Puget Sound.
Oh, okay.
And oddly enough, I was the assistant tennis coach there when I was in graduate school.
Oh, okay.
To
Good.
help supplement my spare time.
Plus, you're doing some coaching now, aren't you, or are you?
I am just
Did
starting.
I hear that you were volunteering again?
I am actually, yes, I'm going to be the high school tennis coach at the for the girls at the high
Good.
school, Central High School.
Good.
It'll be
Boy,
a great time.
They'll go to state.
Oh, well.
Guaranteed.
Well, they'll learn a lot, and
Yeah.
we will have a great time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're married to John McCardle, who's
Yes.
the mayor of Independence. And your son Marcus, what's he doing now?
Marcus graduated recently from University of Oregon, and he went off to Washington, D.C. for an internship.
Oh, really?
With Senator Wyden, and he was there for,
Oh.
I think it was about a 4-month internship, and now he works at Council of Governments in Albany.
Good. So he's close enough. He could come home for dinner on Sundays.
He
or-
could. He's having fun doing
Good.
new things.
Good, good. Well, it sounds like things are going very well in your life, and
Yes.
thanks to you, our county is being well fed, or our communities. Yeah.
Well, that was the dream when we had our meeting,
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
it be something if people knew if they were hungry, there would be a place to go. And on that note, we do provide food to the high school now for
Oh,
their
that's
pantry.
right.
Yes, and so, we at our food bank serve, if we count up the numbers of visits with the family sizes, it's about 1,000 people at
Wow.
Curran a month.
Wow.
And some of those are people that may come in twice because we don't want to turn people away. But the high school has 163 kids last month that use the food pantry at their
Gosh.
school.
Gosh, that's good. That's
Right.
That shows compassion on the parts of the high schoolers too. Wasn't that their idea? Somebody's idea?
Exactly. They had a
Fabulous.
class called Roseanne Larson's the instructor, and this group is called the Power Peers class, and they came up with the idea and made a beautiful video clip to educate their students. So 163, and it does keep increasing.
Wow.
It's food for kids to be able to take home if they're hungry.
And mostly probably on Fridays to get you through the weekend too, I would think.
They probably do.
Yeah, I know there are programs like that, because you can have your Title I, is it? Title something.
I'm not certain on
I
that.
can't remember. But free lunch program, which is great Monday to Friday, but then
Yes.
not so hot on the weekends.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
I enjoyed it.
It's great
Thank
to
you.
see you. We'll be right back. We're here with Emily Plec. Emily is here at Western as a professor of communication studies. And welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Susan.
You're that and more. You're that and more. So tell us classes you're teaching this quarter.
I have the best job in the world. I am teaching classes in intercultural communication, which is one of those skills that students need no matter what they choose to do in this day and age. I get to teach a public address course that's an upper division and indulge my love of oratory. And I'm also teaching a new class in sport communication. It's my first go with it, but we're having a fantastic time. And we had the Super Bowl and the BCS championship, so we have tons of things to talk about in
Isn't
class.
that fun? That sounds interesting. So is this so they can become sportscasters, or?
There are so many careers in sport that a lot of students think they want to be behind the camera or on the sideline or coaching, but they haven't even begun to consider the dozens of other roles that they can
good.
play in sport.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sure. Well, I'll bet that's a fun class for the students.
I hope so.
and the students love you too. I read your reviews on the. It's you're not an easy A teacher. You make them have to think.
I think I'm an easy A teacher if you put the work in all year long, because I do recognize not everybody starts at the same place, but
Yeah.
we're all moving in the same direction.
Yeah. It's a good introductory thing for students for their future career too, knowing there are things you have to do. So your favorite age group is kind of incoming freshmen? Or?
You know, I think that's true. I think one of the reasons I love Western, it reminds me of the short time I spent teaching at a community college as well. There's something about the energy of students when they come here. So many of them are first generation, first in their families, maybe to complete college. And the eagerness and excitement that you get that first year, it's like nothing else.
Yeah.
So public speaking is the freshman class that I teach, and
That's
it's a ball.
great. Yes, that's wonderful. And that's true. First generation, we have a high percentage of first gen, I think.
We do.
So tell us, this gives you enough time to spend on other things that you really love. You're a compassionate person, and you are always doing things for the benefit of the community. And I know things that you've done before have impacted our school. But tell us about what you're doing right now. Your two pet projects.
You know, it's funny. I would never have guessed 20 years ago that I would be involved with either of these projects, but they've emerged as a result of my career here. The first one is the WU Fostering Success Program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. And I had the very first students I ever knew in foster care here at Western. And if I had taught students who were in foster care at other institutions, I didn't know that they had been in foster care. But the students I met here were amazing, and they were such advocates for a better system and for their own futures. And as I got to know them better, I realized that while I'm not a parent, there's a lot of nurturing that needs to happen for many of these kids to succeed in college.
Yeah.
And it was a role that I felt I could play. So we've started to think more strategically about what could Western do to be a foster-friendly campus. The other project is a result of the national landscape. 5 years ago, I was eagerly and excitedly supporting many of my Latinx students and other students who are residing in the United States without the permission of the federal government. And I was encouraging them to apply for DACA and helping them get information and resources so that they could do so. And then we saw a different landscape at the national level. And so we've worked really hard. I've got a group of students in the intercultural communication class who volunteer for our project. And beginning last year with our former student body president, Alma Pacheco, continuing on this year, we're building campus resources in conjunction with a lot of other people in offices, but also continuing to develop a web page for DACA students so that they know where they can find financial support for college, that Western is a place that welcomes and supports their educational goals and opportunities. And we're just hoping to find ways that we can be part of the advocacy for change to make sure that these young folks have a future in our state and in our country.
Well, talking about landscape, I think you have helped develop the community as being DACA friendly, it's been a lot of it has been you at the spearhead. So I appreciate that.
That's so kind of you to say, but I honestly, it really hasn't been. I feed off the energy of the students, and they're doing the work. Our Unidos Club, our Mecha chapter, Alma, the student government, and in the community we have groups like the Polk Community for Human Equality and organizations and groups and Causa and Salem, and so I think all of the work is being done by other people. I'm just so fortunate
connecting
to
them,
be
though.
able to know them all and be
Yeah.
able to bring all that good work they're doing to
Yeah.
bear on our faculty and staff.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, now tell us, we'll come to the foster care program in a sec, but you are not originally from Monmouth. Where are you from?
I'm a native Michigander, and we do it on the
I
glove.
did
right?
not know. Oh, yeah,
We tell you
Wisconsin.
where we're from,
yeah,
right,
but,
on the glove. But I grew up in a town called Clarkston, Michigan, and I moved west for college, and I just kept moving sort of west and north until I found Oregon. But I like to say that Oregon has all the good parts of Michigan and none of the bad.
no cold, well, very
Not in the
little.
valley, right? Much less snow and slush, which I don't miss at all. The mosquitoes in the summer are not nearly as bad. But I grew up in farm country. My grandparents were farmers, and between the farm and the suburbs where I was raised and went to school, I see a lot of that reflected in the landscape here in Oregon.
This wasn't your first school. You were someplace else before?
So this was my first official job as a professor out of graduate school, but I had the opportunity to teach during my PhD and my master's programs, and then in between at a community college in New Mexico as well. And those were fantastic experiences that cemented in me my desire not to be at a big research institution, but to be someplace where teaching students was really the number one focus.
And you could make a difference in their lives.
Yeah.
And have.
And still do research on the side.
Yeah. So what kind of research have you done?
I just finished writing a public speaking textbook, so I'm very proud and happy about that.
Ooh,
it's my first
good.
time trying to do a textbook, but also a response to a concern that a lot of the books on our market for public speaking are $100, $150. I wanted something for
Right.
25 or 30 bucks that was comprehensive and suited to our quarter system. And then hopefully if we choose to adopt it here, the royalties will go into supporting student conference travel as well.
Oh.
So that's a nice project. And
That
prior to
is.
that, I edited a book about human-animal communication.
Tell us about that, because I know you love dogs. Was it primarily dogs?
Well, for me it
Or-
is. It started back in graduate school with a paper about canine human communication, but I never imagined in a million years I would do this. I kept kind of waiting for someone else to write the book, and it didn't happen. But I had students who were interested and other scholars who were interested, and so finally I just took the plunge and decided, though I'm not expert, I could read up enough and I could at least edit a book of other experts. So we were able to put something together. It covers all kinds of interspecies relationships, all of the different ways that we communicate through animals and that we communicate with
wow.
animals,
Sure.
some of the possibilities for changing how we think about animals as members of a larger community,
Was
but
it a
also
fun-
challenging communication to think more
Yeah.
about biology and some of the things we can learn from our colleagues in the sciences.
Good. I'll bet it was a fun book to write.
It was an incredibly fun project.
And I'm imagining you were the expert in the field, so you could say anything. Nobody's there to say, what's she talking about?
It's a
know
it's
you
a
didn't.
humbling
I know you didn't.
exercise. I was a nobody in the field. There's a very small group of scholars who specialize in environmental communication. So I think within environmental communication, I had at least a modest reputation. But what's been interesting is for the book, we started thinking about what would we refer to this as. There's different terms used in different fields. And because of intercultural communication and interpersonal, we decided to talk about it as internatural communication. And I've been using that term for some time.
Yeah, I misread it. I saw international communication. Yeah, well,
Right, that's fun too. But
Yeah.
so the term itself and the concept, the theory has sort of taken off, and it's kind of exciting
Fun.
to see people
Good.
referring to something that you've done.
So on the foster program, Beck, we switch back and forth a lot here. Sorry, it's
my kind of show.
It's my brain. Tell us about the system, how it works with the fosters as the foster student ages out.
Yeah.
They're eligible for full financial aid, aren't they?
They are, it depends. So it's a very complicated picture. What we're trying to do here at Western is create a space where every student who's been in foster care in the state of Oregon knows that college can be in their future and that Western's a place that will welcome them. Once they're here, we want to make sure that we are the place that can help them succeed. And that's one of the reasons I got involved, because I saw all of these ways that we were already doing things for student populations that would make a difference for this group of students. The challenge, of course, is that those wonderful financial services, which are very important and crucial, only accrue to students who meet certain categories. So they have to have been in care after age 16. They have to age out of the system. It cuts off at a certain age. We're working really hard to expand from 21 to 23 nationally to recognize that young people are often still in college at 21 and not finished yet.
That's right.
But the state of Oregon made a huge investment, and the public university presidents really did, when several years ago they chose to fund a program that would say, after all of your aid has been expended, your last tuition and fee dollars will be picked up by the universities.
Oh, good.
So,
And does that continue, I hope?
presumably, a student who meets all of those eligibility criteria. And we did have one student last year, who was ready to graduate. Spring term came around. She had just turned 21, no more state and federal services. She had one term left of college to become a graduate, but had no idea how she was going to pay for her tuition and fees. Because of the program, she found out about us. We got her in touch with the right person at financial aid. It was all taken care of, and she walked and graduated. So.
Yay.
And that's
Success story.
such an important pipeline, because the system sets so many students in foster care and young people up for other avenues, whether that's incarceration or low-wage jobs. And so to be able to change that pattern is
You gave
vital.
us some statistics that were pretty frightening. I saw it as frightening. I know we can only go up, but 2 to 3% of foster alums complete a bachelor's, 7 to 13% apply and get into.
But the vast majority of
college.
them want to go. You know, you ask them at the same ages that we ask junior high and high school students, do you want to go to college? And they want to go.
Yeah.
But some of these kids have transitioned through 10 or 15 different schools, through different school districts. They've never had the same teacher for more than a year. There's so many barriers to just accessing
continuity.
college.
Yeah. Wow.
And actually, that's exciting. This spring, we're going to be bringing a group of students from foster care to campus for a specialized campus visit that's going to highlight some of the resources and programs we have.
Oh,
But also
good.
give them a chance to connect with some of our current students who can mentor and help them adjust and adapt to college life.
And how many students do we have that fit that category? Do you know? Just in general terms.
That has been one of the biggest challenges. So we have 6 students who are really active in our program right now, and one who's serving as a peer mentor. The other students could number as much as 10% of WU's student population.
Wow.
We did a count about 8 years ago, and the estimate was in that ballpark. Today, we really have no idea, but we can find out how many are receiving federal benefits as foster
Right.
students, Chafee benefits. And starting this past fall, we've had a checkbox on the admissions form, so we'll know
Good.
4 years from now how many students on campus are in or have been in foster care and might need these services. But we have many, many more. 2 of the students in our program right now are from outside of the state. And so they don't receive any support from their home state and no support from the state of Oregon. They're doing it all on their own.
But they're getting fed or not? Are they getting federal
Thanks to
aid?
our food pantry.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
so, yes, they're living on their student loans and the financial aid packages they're able to accrue. And many of them, thanks to some campus employment opportunities, are bringing in
Good.
a little bit of
Good.
money that way as well. But
Well,
it's
join the
something to
crowd.
struggle.
There are plenty of students that are on the edge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And fortunately, because we do provide some emergency assistance at the university as well, they've been able to take advantage of that. But that's one of our ongoing needs for the Fostering Success Initiative, is just to have support so that when a student faces a financial crisis, it isn't the thing that prevents them from continuing in school. Eventually, we'd
Yeah.
like to have a
Yeah.
scholarship that we can
Oh, good.
provide to
That's
at least one student.
Great idea. That's a super idea. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you
It was
so
so
much.
nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
We'll be back. Weren't they terrific guests? They all three have a heart for our community. And you know, you can too. We can donate to the food pantries, and cash is always appreciated. Just going to plug it there. You can see our show on Wimpeg Channel YouTube, MyNet, Channel 718, and of course, Polk Salad, A Bounty of Conversation, our Facebook page. Till next time, we'll see you around town.